Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Date Your Wife, brought to you by The Warrior Book and the announcement of an entire new experience found at warriorbook.com, which is known as the King's Kit, which involves the Warrior Book, Be the Man, the book, as well as a 30-day King's Challenge for the investment of what used to be just for the book of $100. So if you're interested in that, check that out over at warriorbook.com. That is the sponsor of our show. But you know, here at Date Your Wife, I'm not here by myself.
You're your own sponsor?
I am my own sponsor.
Nice.
Somebody's got to pay for this shit.
Wow.
Are you paying for this?
Yeah, I'll pay
You
for
are.
it.
You're going to pay for it?
I got you.
You've got a beautiful kimono on
Yes.
tonight.
I know. It's cute.
It is cute. You look fantastic in your kimono. Oh, I like it. Okay, cool. So our topic today, as we dive in, is the focus of parenting. If you're new here to the Date Your Wife podcast, my wife is going to do the thing that she despises doing every time I put her on the spot for this show.
Why are we doing this show?
You are amazing. Give it to us. Why are we doing this show? Off you go. And please give us a better answer than the last lame answers you've given us the last 4 weeks.
We are doing this show because we believe
Put the
that
mic
we
up
can...
in your mouth there, right
Oh
by
my
your mouth.
God! You always want me to like chew on the mic.
I don't want you to
Could
chew
you
on the mic.
Firmer? Hello.
I don't need you to put your mouth
Testing.
around the mic.
Okay, I will not do that.
All right, so talk to us. What is the point of this show?
The point of this show is to keep it
Therapy
real.
with Garrett. It's
You know
weekly
what?
therapy.
I think it's just for us. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
Okay.
hopefully we had some value for you guys, but like literally, I was like, it's like you guys are our therapists. You guys are our sounding board. We can only say too much on this show, you know.
No, there are sounding. I think it actually allows us to say some shit on the show that maybe we
I think
wouldn't
that's
spend
why
any time
people
talking
like
about.
it. I think people like it because they're like, literally, I felt like you guys almost got in an argument and then you like resolved
Every
it.
show.
I'm like, we did.
We did literally on
and
the
then
show.
they're like, and then I could feel the chemistry and the tension and I'm like, we did.
and then
So,
we had sex after.
we did
In the
right?
studio.
Shut up.
We actually have never had sex in the studio. Did you know
What,
this?
is that like every guy's fantasy?
Is
to
that
like
sex
put
in
his
the
wife?
podcast studio?
No, like is that? I'm just wondering. Is
Okay,
that like
go.
a fantasy for guys to like have sex in your office?
Absolutely. It's
Is
absolutely.
it?
Of course. Why
Like-
wouldn't you? Because you're sitting
I
there in
guess
your
that's a
office and you're
stupid
thinking
question.
about having sex
That's
with
a
your
stupid
wife.
question. I'm sure.
You can pretty much not name a place I wouldn't
I was
like to
gonna
have sex
say
with you.
it's not like a video. I was gonna say it's probably anywhere. So table sturdy. This'll do.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so the topic of our podcast today is on parenting, and this is always a tricky one for me because I feel like with moms, there's a lot of that mommy guilt that goes around, and I just feel like I'm doing the best I can, but I ultimately believe the guilt kind of holds us back. So it's like this balance of like letting go of the guilt and parenting the best way you know how to. So, anyways, that's where we're at, and that's kind of why we're doing this podcast because we want to share more with you guys and keep it real, and we have a topic each week, and that's my answer.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I've got some interesting insights to add to this today because I have a son who is 19 years old, turned 19. He lives in our home now. He's been with us for 6 weeks living here.
Already?
The last 6 weeks. Sorry,
Oh,
is
wow.
that crazy? So my son's name is Parker, and it is the first time since he was 9 months old that he has chosen to live with his father. It is also the first time since since ever, that he's decided to call me Dad. And this was an amazing experience that's happened over here the last 6 weeks, but is actually the result of doing the Warriors Way work with him over the last 3.5 years. So part of what I'm going to share today and we're going to talk about is we're going to intertwine this game of mommy guilt. We're going to also come to the topic here as a father, which is the ability to connect with your children and the work that's required as a man to actually stay connected to your children. And then we have a third topic I'm going to bring in today, which is why sometimes as a man, the only reason that you're actually spending time with your children is because you think you're getting points to with your wife and hoping that you get to have sex.
Wait, say that again?
Yep, you weren't even listening.
I'm
I just
sorry.
threw it to sex because you were not paying attention. Like, literally, this is a focus of topic today that I'm going to bring
I
up.
thought the babysitter was calling. Sorry.
Okay, I appreciate that. Here's the thing, though. Like, there is some twisted reasons why guys do things with their children. And what I mean by that is why they will spend time. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how I used to spend time with my kids thinking I was getting points with Danielle so that I could have sex. Pretty much everything came back to sex.
I think you actually liked spending. I think you genuinely always liked spending time with your kids. I think what you tried to do was use it as leverage.
Yeah, 100%. Let's talk about that. Let's start there first with leverage. So,
are we talking about sex or kids or parenting?
It's always about sex. But we're talking about kids. You can't talk about not sex when you're talking about kids because you have to have sex to have kids. All right, so talk about this game of how it felt because literally this was a strategy that I was using. I had
I saw through your strategies.
Okay, I'm sure you did. So talk about what it felt like to know that I was counting points and wanting to have sexual connection with you
Well,
based on spending time with the kids.
I
Or
just,
like taking the
I
kids
just
to school,
hate
etc.
in general when people like tally up things to be like, see, I'm ready to cash in my chips. I'm like, that doesn't fucking work like that. Like, you can't cash in your chips. Like, I almost get more turned off when people do that. Like, even in like a friend relationship where they're like, hey, I'm going to do this and this and this. But then when they come acting at you expecting like favors and they're like, well, I did all this. And it's like, well, don't do that with the intention to cash in one day. And so for me, when you were doing that, I'm like, okay, A, they're your kids. I know you love spending time with them. And I don't want you to use those to, you can't use those. Like,
Right.
I'm like, no, you can't cash that in with me. Sorry, buddy. Like, it is what it is. I'm like, if you don't want to spend time, I think I even said a few times, I'm like, if you don't want to spend time with them, like, peace out. See how that goes for you. And I don't think that's ultimately what you wanted.
What I wanted to do was spend time with my children. But I had gotten stuck in this very interesting place where I was trying to find an entry point into connection. Now, if you haven't noticed on this show at this point, like a vast majority of my entire experience in being married was this pursuit of getting laid. Like, I just wanted to have sex. I was like, man, how do I make this happen as a married
You've
man?
been so much more chill lately, and I think it's like you found more balance in your life.
It's because I surf and I get laid more.
Yeah, but I even asked you the other day, because like I feel like everybody has this thing that they go to in their mind. Like, our minds constantly want to be busy, right? So
Right.
when our minds are not busy, we get stuck in this weird, funky, dowdy, weird place in our own minds. It's like, now we constantly have to be entertained. Like,
Yes.
if there's this space where we're not being entertained and we're not like meditating and we're just like in this space, it can be kind of like, what do I think about? And so some people maybe think about food. Some people maybe think about online shopping. Some people maybe
Right.
think about sex. Some people think about surfing. Some people think about whatever their passion or whatever they're working at. But it's like, it's at some point you have to kind of be able to unplug the obsession. And I think there was a point too when, because it wasn't as frequent, like sex wasn't as frequent for us, it became this forbidden fruit or this something that you can, it almost made your mind want to go there more.
I
And it
became
became a little
obsessed.
bit of an obsession. And so anytime
Yes.
you were trying to, like, you had that point in your day, and everybody has that point in your day where it's just like, okay, I need to like shut my brain off from work or whatever it is, but you don't know how to shut it off. And so you would go to thinking about
Sex.
sex.
Is there ever a time in the middle of the day where you think about sex?
No, I think about shoes.
Okay, so, but how many times a day you think about shoes? Like, think
But
about buying some
that's
shit.
but oftentimes I don't buy it. Like,
I know. Oftentimes I don't get laid. So,
But-
like, we're kind of on the same page with that one.
Well,
So
like,
talk to me about how many times you think
that's
about
what I was
shoes.
saying is everybody has like what's kind of in their mind. Like, a lot of people go to social media. I don't really like scrolling through social media. I find myself getting triggered and annoyed. And
Me too.
And so maybe that's on me. I don't know what it is, but I just like, I'm like, for me, I'm like, I want to just like have something to focus on, but not, I don't know. Like, for me, like scrolling through, like looking at shoes or clothes or whatever, and I'm like thinking about putting this and that together. Like, it's kind of relaxing to me. And then, but I don't always buy. But then sometimes I get in trouble and I do buy. But there's always a space where people like have something where they have to think about. And the more you allow yourself to think about it, that's what I believe it allows it to become an obsession. I remember there was a point in my life where I was kind of a foodie, and I would like restrict myself on food, and then guess what? On that time, instead of like I wasn't like scrolling through shopping anymore. Guess what I was thinking about? I was on
Food.
Pinterest looking at food recipes, and I was like, oh my god.
Were you really?
Yes,
You would go on Pinterest
yes,
and look at food
and
recipes.
I would look at food recipes,
I
and
didn't
I'd
know
be
that
like,
you were doing
wouldn't that
this.
be so good? And like, what if I made this and this? And oh, look at
Wow.
those chocolate syrupy. Blah.
Really?
Yeah, and girls, you know, you can relate to me. Like, I can always tell when now, because I think I struggled with that a little bit. I can always tell when a woman's having food issues or struggles with it, because it's like all of a sudden they're pinning a shit ton of food, and I'm like,
Yes.
you're not a cook, and so that means that's where your mind's going. And I'm not to say that I'm any less guilty. I mean, look at my freaking blog. I'm always pinning shoes and clothes and crap, and my whole Instagram feed is like me talking about what I'm wearing, whatever. But even that kind of like gets old, and so it's like it becomes like not fulfilling anymore. But anyways, my point being, like, we all can get obsessed over something, and you kind of have to figure out how to, for me, it's like get obsessed over multiple things and kind of like balance it. Like, allow yourself to do this, allow yourself to surf, have sex, whatever, allow myself to buy things, allow myself this, but just don't let it overly consume me where it taps into that guilty side of things, because that guilt ultimately is more destructive.
So I'm going to say some of these topics for our sex topic
Okay.
will come back because there's like a lot of
There's so many topics.
there's so many things about
so
sex
many
I could
things.
just continue to talk about right now with you. But we're going to
This is parenting.
well, again, like I said, you have to have sex to have kids. So like, at some level this like sex thing to children is connected. Like they come one after the other. It's like the chicken or the egg. Yes, we know the scenario. There's a chicken, there's an egg that comes. But anyway, so you're sitting in this place and you're actually bringing up an interesting topic of parenting, which I didn't believe we were going to take up, but we're going to talk about right now because you brought it up, which is the importance for parents to actually have a place to unplug beyond their children and their partner. Mm-hmm. And why that actually makes them a better parent. So you're bringing us up, and I used to look at you. You would watch like Netflix back before cell phones. You watch Netflix at night.
I still do. I hate.
No, you don't even watch TV though. It's the weirdest shit ever.
I know.
You turn the TV on, and then you're on your cell phone. But you're not watching the TV. You couldn't tell me what the hell's going on. But if I turn the TV off, you get completely pissed off about the fact that I turned off the TV.
I think that's a girl thing too. I've talked to lots of women. And
all right, so talk to us about the strategy you have at night of having background TV going when you don't know what's happening.
It's so therapeutic.
You've watched the same movie 5 times, and you still don't know what the fuck's going on with it.
So who cares?
Literally, you've started the same movie 5 times in 1 week.
I got 6 things in my shopping cart. It doesn't matter.
Okay, talk to me about why you need this state compression time for you.
The thing is, you have to be careful because if you have 6 things in your shopping cart and you're 2 glasses of wine down, you're screwed.
Yeah, you're buying
so
that.
if you're gonna do that, you got to like cut out. Literally
cut out the alcohol.
Cut out the alcohol. Now
or
I'm
get rid of your cell phone.
Yes, I do that. I'm serious. Like I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna drink it during the week. I'm just gonna save that for like date nights because we know that leads to too many fucking pairs of shoes.
Yes. And a few drinks on a date night, for you at least, tends to lead to a very happy time for me.
Yeah, sometimes. Well, usually.
Usually, sometimes not. It's when you go too far.
Yeah, I can't go too far.
Yeah,
I'm a lightweight.
All right, so seriously, come back to me on this topic, though, because talking about this from a perspective of a woman, and I'm going to talk about this from a perspective of a man.
All right.
Why you need time outside of your husband and or your children
because I was thinking
for
about
you.
that today, too, because I was like, Garrett's gone.
You had time
The kids
today.
are gone. I know, and this is, let me finish.
Oh, okay, go.
I was like, Garrett's gone. The kids are gone. And usually, I'll get all, like, panicky, like this guilt sets in, like, I should be having family time, which is sometimes is important to have on the weekends. You don't want to totally disconnect. But I was like, oh, I'm going to just open my back door, feel the ocean breeze, grab a lemonade, and scroll on revolve.com for the next 2 hours.
And you did, right?
It was amazing. And then I got so many things in my cart. And then what I do is I go to my cart and I narrow it down to what I actually want. And then I ended up only buying 2 things. But it was a great afternoon for me.
But what does this do for you as a parent? Think about this. Think about this today, okay? So this morning I woke up.
I think it's important to have something. Well, what I was thinking about is you were not here. Is I got a little panicky. And then I was like, I'm not dependent on Garrett. Like, I don't have to have Garrett to have a good Saturday. Do you
used
know what I mean?
You used to have to have me to have a good Saturday. You get pissed off.
But it was more like the guilt would set in, like, oh my God, it's family time. Which again, I'm not gonna say like there are days that I'm like I have to like force family fun. Like I'm like we're getting out of the house. Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Usually
Sunday,
it's a Sunday. I'm like
yeah.
we're staying together as a family. We're getting out of the house and we're doing something as a family. But yeah, there also can be like a balance of like on a Saturday if you're like a workaholic like many of us are. You almost have it's interesting, but you have to force yourself to kind of like take a day off and do a hobby or do something else that's not work related. It just creates more balance in your life, and I feel like just like, okay, I'm ready to go back to work on Monday or whatever it is.
Do you think if you couldn't actually go on your cell phone and shop, you might surf?
No, I will never surf.
No, I'm just saying, imagine
it.
like cell phones didn't exist. You could not go to a cell phone. Would you go to surfing?
Before cell phones.
What were you doing before cell phones? Because you didn't have cell phones. Cell phone is now like your addiction outlet.
I've always been a big movie watcher, and I love series. Like, even though you're like, oh, you have it on you, like I actually am paying attention and I am watching.
Wait, back in the day, you used to actually watch the shows. Now you just like pretend like you're watching the shows.
I like to multitask.
It's not multitasking. It's impossible. It's called ignoring one thing and doing another.
No, it's not. You're not a girl. You don't know.
I'm not a girl. You're accurate in that one. But I can definitely observe what it is you're doing, which is you're not multitasking.
I definitely
multitasking would assume that you actually know what's going on in the show while you're on your phone.
Don't listen to him.
Okay. All right, listen. So I'm going to give some relevance to the show because Danielle is just like having a good time talking about God knows what. Here's the deal. Inside of this game, I know this as a husband. This has been very difficult as a businessman, which has been creating for myself space for me beyond the business, beyond my beautiful wife, and beyond my amazing children. Like, I used to feel so guilty about giving myself time to be with me. And truly, surfing has given me this. It's not even a guilty pleasure. It's just the time that I get to be with myself. And in that place, I become a better father. I become a better husband, particularly on the weekends, on Saturday and Sunday. I don't golf for 5 hours. I fucking hate golf. I think golf is for pussies, and it is not a sport. You can take it for what it is. It's almost everybody that golfs is overweight, and literally I have no patience because there's no sweating. It's complete skill. I get it, and it's because I suck. I get it. I understand on that. Listen, come surf, and we'll see how you do out there. But here's what I'm telling you, though, is like inside of it, regardless of whether it was golf or it was surfing. I did that on purpose to like show my disgust for golf. Whether it was surfing, inside of that, like as a man, giving yourself permission to find space for you. Because think about how my work week goes. Like I start in the morning early and I work every day. I work on Saturday and Sunday at times. I have meetings. There's some crucial shit that went down in my companies this last few days. So I'm in meetings today for a couple hours. I'll be in some meetings tomorrow and Sunday for a couple hours, handling some stuff. And inside of all of that, there is a tendency for businessmen to leave straight from business and go straight to family. And there's no transition. They wake up in the morning and they go straight to business and then they come home straight to family. And then on the weekend, they're in only family mode. But this is a very overwhelming proposition because now they feel guilty about having any time for themselves. So I can understand why men go golf for 5 hours because it gives them a chance to be with themselves. But if you don't give yourself space as a man to do some stuff beyond your wife and beyond your children, beyond your employment, you're going to find yourself get exhausted and fatigued. And being super dad has to be redefined. Today, what was my schedule? Today, this morning, I woke up. I woke up before everyone because I always wake up before everyone. I even slept in this morning until 6:30. This was unheard of for me.
I was.
Did you recognize that I
you know
slept
what?
until 6:30?
When you sleep in, I sleep in a little bit.
You slept until like 8.
Like 7:40.
7:40. That which, if I sleep in, then everyone in the house, even Bailey and Ruby slept in this morning. Even Parker was like coming out of Worry Week 47.
That was good.
But I woke up this morning, I did my own thing, and then I went and picked my son up. And then my son came back from Worry Week 47. We got to have some great debrief conversations about his experience inside of Worry Week. He's the youngest kid, youngest guy, 19 years of age to ever graduate from Worry Week. 47 Worry Weeks have happened. You can learn more about that at worryweek.com. And then I go out and I surf with my son for 2 hours. Then I come back and I take my daughters and their friend to the beach and we play volleyball and we skateboard for 2 hours.
You're just living your best life.
And then I come and have a business meeting with an important member on my team for 2 hours. And then I'm with you.
Oh, my God. This is like check, 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 check.
But it's about space. And the space makes me a better father because it gives me a sense of being fulfilled.
Does it make you a better husband?
I think, well, you tell me.
You tell me.
You tell me. Yeah, I gave you that look in the eyeballs.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. I gave you like they opened my eyes a little bit more. Like, what do you think? Well, what do you think? You tell me. I play this strategy.
Okay,
you heard it. Doesn't make me a better father or a better husband or not?
Well, I don't know. We just started
How
the
do
date
you not
night.
know?
I don't know. We just started the date night.
It's not like I started this strategy today. I've been doing this same strategy for years.
No,
giving
I know.
myself
I'm
more time.
specifically waiting for today to play out. But I was going to ask you something when you were talking about all that. If you don't get a chance to surf, does it throw off your day?
If you don't get a chance to look at shoes, does it throw off your day?
It does not.
It does not.
It does not.
So you're willing to give me your phone for the entire day tomorrow?
I didn't say my phone. You said look at shoes.
I know. You're willing to give me your phone all day so you can't look at any shopping.
No, I will just not look at shopping. You can't take my phone.
You won't look at shopping?
No.
Do you see that hesitation? That's a
no,
complete
no,
lie. You're a liar.
No.
No, that was not
that was a firm no.
That was not a firm no.
That was a firm
Are you
no.
committing right here on the air to go without your cell phone and social media for an entire day and no shopping?
How did I get punished based on asking
You're asking
you
me
if I am.
I'm pulling your move, which is anytime I say something, I have tons of moves. You know I have moves.
Oh, my God. Just
yes,
answer the question. If you don't surf, are you grumpy?
I'm not as happy for sure. If you do not shop, are you happy?
Yeah.
Bullshit. You are lying.
Oh, my God. I don't have to shop every day.
You are lying. That's not.
Let me close that window really quick. Hold on.
There's a reason why a box shows up on our front door every fucking day. Are you kidding me? Listen.
That's not
You're a total
mine.
hypocrite. You're a hypocrite
You
about this.
cannot answer the question.
I am answering a question. I already answered. I said, yeah, I will be less happy.
Okay.
Okay, you still are dodging
let
like
me finish
a fucking
my question.
dodging champion.
That was
this
just
isn't
the start
even
of my question.
dodgeball.
Listen, let me finish
Talk to
my
me
question.
truth. All right, go.
So
let me finish my reframing question where I don't actually answer anything. I just put it back on Garrett.
No.
All right, go. Everyone that's listening to the show knows how this shit goes down.
So,
this is my strategy.
So if you don't surf, because this is what I'm trying to put out there. Like, people will say, well, I have to work.
We're all very excited to figure out what you're trying
to
put out there.
Shut up! People always say, like, okay, if I work out because it makes me a better mom, it makes me a better father, it makes me better this, I have to work out. But what I was saying is you have to keep your addictions in check. You have to keep a fine balance.
Like shopping.
Yes, and I said that I threw myself under the bus,
When did you
asshole.
When did you throw yourself under the bus?
So many times.
The bus
I said,
drove by. You completely were not underneath it. You were like waving to it while looking at your phone and shopping.
So you're admitting that you have to surf in order to be happy? Or?
I didn't say I have to. I said I'm more happy. You said if you don't surf, what happens?
Exactly.
You should go back and listen to the show.
You should go back and listen to yourself right now. Jesus. So listen, anyways, keep your surfing in check.
I love that you don't understand. I am the reframing master. No matter what you say, I'll reframe. You are the queen. You are the queen of
I'm the
spin
only person
questions.
in your life that can challenge you, and you love it.
I love every second of it. I never said I didn't. I love
like
it. You turn me on.
you.
This is complete foreplay. I love that we do this before date night because it just like riles everything up. It just like builds all the sensual juices. They just start flowing in our hearts. I start having heart orgasms while we do this show, anticipating the physical orgasms later.
Totally missed my point.
No, what is your point? Because I'm still trying to figure out what your point is.
My point was just saying, like you're saying, you need to surf to be you don't need to, but you're saying it helps you be a better father. And
Yes.
I was just. The only point that I wanted to make is you have to be careful with like your hobbies or your interests or something, because when they could become too much of an obsession.
Like your clothes.
No, just let me finish.
Okay, go.
If it becomes too much of an obsession, it actually can take away from time with your kids.
I totally agree with
and
you.
I can throw myself under the bus and say there's times I'm on my phone too much at night, and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? I should be hanging out with my cute little daughter, playing LOLs and doing this and that.
Agreed.
So I'm just saying it's fine if that makes you happy. My point was just saying, like, make sure that you keep yourself in check with whatever your hobby is, because it's not that the hobby makes you a better father. It's creating more balance in your life so that you have you time and something else that you can focus your energy into versus just having sex with your wife or focus just on business or whatever it is. And that is what makes you ultimately a better father.
Well done. And I agree with you on the addiction. This is why I surf before you guys wake up. You realize this, right?
I think
I'm a dawn patrol guy. I'm up there. Now the sun's getting there. I'm going to be 6 o'clock in the water. Like, you won't even be like,
I get up
before
at 6:30.
I get out of the water.
I get up at 6:30.
You true. But you're still like in the, you're true. You're still in this like interesting play. Anyways.
Okay.
You seriously like derailed this entire focus. I'm trying to keep this show on point and you derailed it. I'm just getting to the principle, which you're again cross-checking on. You need space as a parent away from your spouse and your children to be a better parent. Because one of the things that you don't end up having if you don't create that space is you end up having very little patience. Now, take this, Danielle. If you go back to when you were working in the salon like 5 days, take the salon, take the pressure of the salon, the pressure of the business, take all the marketing that you had to do, and then take the pressure from me to want to have sex and talk to you and communicate with you, etc. If you don't have space, if you don't have your own you time to go get your fingernails did,
I imploded. That's why I cut back. I was like, I can't continue at this speed. My life is not as happy as it could be, and I can't continue at this speed. So I had to let go of things in order to create more space in my life to not work behind the chair. And in doing so, I'm much happier, and things have started to pick up momentum.
Did you know that I'm having a very interesting experience having Parker living with us?
What is that?
I really like having a son.
I know. It's can I be honest with you?
Sure, go ahead.
So it was interesting because Garrett's son is 19. He's been living with us, obviously, if you heard in the beginning of the show, for the last 6 weeks. And everybody's like, how's that going? Is it so weird? And I'm like, he's so easy, and he's like such a good kid, and he's like genuinely, like, it's weird for me because I'm like, oh my God, I just see you as being little, and you're like a man now. You're like, he's taller than Garrett.
He's taller than me.
And Garrett's a big guy. And so I'm like, oh my God, there's like a man-child living in my house. But he's so sweet and respectful and nice and cute with the girls. So the only thing that's been hard for me, and I know it's just a season and a time frame, is like, I'll see you, like I say on a Sunday afternoon when you'd just be hanging out with me, and the girls are like, hey, me and Parker are going to go surf for an hour, and it turns into like 3 hours. And I'm like, oh, like I feel like I have like FOMO. Like I'm like, oh, girls, maybe we should go to, like, I feel like it's like taking away time from me and the girls. But I'm like, also like, you know what? Parker's 19. He's going to like get friends quick. He's going to probably date quick. He's probably going to not live with us. And you haven't had this time. And so as much as I'm like, oh, like, he's not with us, I'm like, no, I can't be like that. Like, he needs to go have space with him. That's so cool that they can connect. But I find myself in having these weird mixed emotions, like, babe, hang out with your girls. What are you doing spending all this time with Parker? Only to realize, like, you had tons of time with our girls, and I know this is a season. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he's 19. He's not 6.
Right.
So I have to be like, no, it's fine. And if Parker was an asshole, I'd be like, but he's not. He's such a nice kid. So I'm like, and it's like, it's fun. It's been fun to have him here. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm kind of like, so wait, he's not living with us forever, right? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Part of that is I'm like, I don't want you to take on that role of a dad now when he's 19. I'm like, he's 19, he's got to be a man, he's got to do things on his own.
Right.
And so for me, I'm like trying to tiptoe around not overstepping my boundaries because I've never felt like his mom. You know, I've always just been there, like, in support of.
I haven't felt like his dad
right,
until the past,
he lived in Canada.
year.
He lived in Canada. We only saw him maybe once, twice a year, if that. There was like 2 years that went by that we didn't see him. And in the beginning, I think I'd even be like, reach out to your son, get your son down here.
You did do a lot of pushing on that in the beginning.
I just kind of got, because I didn't want you to like lose that connection. Then we had our own kids, and I was like, I don't care if you don't want it. I'm not going to fight for you. And so for me, like, it's cool to see you guys like reconnect. And it's weird too to see like how many similarities and traits he has that remind me of. We have a daughter who their birthdays are on the same day, and I swear they look similar and they have similar mannerisms, and it weirds me out.
They think the same too.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh my god, it's like a man version of Ruby,
yes.
And it's kind of interesting. So I'm in this weird place where I'm like,
I could feel it. I could feel you feeling. I could feel it even when I went out today. I could feel you kind of being like, oh, but what about our girls?
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, and that's why I was like, hey, I'm going to go do the podcast, because I was like, we have another podcast called Big Money Silas, and I was like, I'm going to go do the podcast. Will you take the girls to the beach? Because I knew if I kind of stepped away and like unplugged, you'd be like, yeah, girls, let's go play hard for a minute. And then,
which we did. We went for like 2.5 hours.
But I feel
almost
like
3 hours.
I'm like, I don't want to give you
hard,
like shit, and I don't want to tell you like, hey, go hang out with our girls. But I want to like, I'm just like, hey, balance it out. You know.
I feel like I'm doing a great job of doing
but
this
it's just
with all of our children.
What I'm sharing is it's just a weird and interesting place for me to be emotionally. Do you know what I mean?
I do. I get it. I get it.
But I'm a pretty cool person. So.
You are a pretty cool. You are a pretty cool person. And my son, having my son in my life has been a serious journey. Like if you're listening to this and you're a man who has children from another relationship, another marriage you were in, or just an estranged child, or whatever the case was, like Parker was very active in my life for the first 2 years, and then me and his mom got divorced, and I was very young, and then I got remarried here about 4 years after that time to Danielle. And then Danielle and I have been married for almost 15 years coming up this year, and we had our kids, and there was a lot of chaos, and his mother went through another divorce after me and then got remarried to another guy, and there was a lot of stress, and there was a lot of struggle, and it was ultimately Wake Up Warrior that brought my son back into my life. Like, I was doing and playing the game of the Warrior's Way.
Wake Up Warrior brought us back together.
Brought us back together.
And brought your son in.
And
so
brought my son back.
It might actually work.
Yeah, it turns out it works to the tune of over 10,000 individuals who are playing the same game with us every single day, called the Warrior's Way. Which, by the way, I'm going to go ahead and shamelessly promote this book right here, known as the Warrior Book. This book is married up to another book called Be the Man. And if you are a man and or you're a woman, you're wanting your man to get action inside of the game of understanding himself and also being able to translate that into being a better husband, a better father, a better businessman, a better producer, more fit, more on fire, more focused, more connected to God. There's a brotherhood that we have in over 27 countries, and the gateway to this exists at warriorbook.com.
You know what I was just thinking?
What? Go for it.
Is this would be so we were raised Mormon.
Yes.
And at 19, Mormon men, like, they get the opportunity if they want, and in the culture, like, you take the opportunity, like,
and you go on a mission.
You go on a mission. Like, if you didn't go on a mission, they're like, "Oh, why didn't you go?" Like, it's if you're raised Mormon, you go on a mission. And regardless of how much you know about the church or you don't, I think it's an amazing experience for young men to just be on their own, take on responsibility, just being thrown into just hard work and being on their own in a different environment.
Well, it forces you to not only work hard, but it also forces you to learn how to take care of yourself, and it also forces you to give a shit about other people.
Well, and you
at a time when you tend to not give a shit about anybody.
You moved to Miami, and you also learned another language. And so I was just thinking, I'm like, I don't know. I feel like the Warrior, that it should be for there's going to be like a
There's
Am I
an
like
entire
foreseeing this?
yes. There's an
Because I was
entire
like,
game coming
that's
through.
something
what
that
Parker's
men
going through
like
is
all
intense.
the like how they're like all the millennials are all entitled, blah blah blah. I'm not saying all of them, but there's like this tendency to like sit around till you're 35 and then figure out what to do. And because we were raised in Utah in a more conservative state, like that wasn't what guys did or girls. Like you just like
You got married.
You got married.
You went on
I
a
got
mission,
married
you
at
got
20.
married.
I was done with hair school by 20. I was on my career. I was like, I mean, you're focused. It's just focused. And so I think it'd be cool to introduce something like that. I'm sure you guys already have that in the works, right?
That's what we talked about for 2 hours surfing today.
Nice.
And we talked about a lot of other things surfing. And we talked about how much fun we have surfing.
Nice.
But interesting enough, as a parent, like I never had the chance to raise my son, so I never could see the difference between raising my daughters and raising my son. And I'm not going to lie, like there's a big, huge
He's the
void
next piece of the puzzle.
to me as a father getting to raise a son. Like I've not had that experience. And let's be honest, like there was a piece of you that wanted to raise a son too. Like you've wanted a boy.
I still want a boy. I mean, I recently miscarried about 5 weeks ago, and I was excited. And I was thinking, like,
you were excited about miscarrying?
no, I was
you were excited
excited
because
to
you thought it might be a boy.
I was like, I have 2 girls, and it'd be awesome to have a boy. I just think different energy in the home, and
Yeah. Well, I anticipated that I was going to have this young man, this boy that we were going to have, and then I would be able to raise him up and force him to surf because he would just be submersed in the water from the time he's little. Little did I realize I was going to get my 19-year-old son come back who has huge skills on a board with skateboarding and wake surfing and wake skating and wakeboarding. And he picked up surfing, and he's like as good as I am after a year.
You're moving into a different relationship. You're gonna have like the adult relationship with your son. Do you know what I mean? Even if I could see this like if he ends up staying working for Wake Up Warrior or not, it just staying here and maybe meeting a girl, maybe not. But like I just see it going a different turn, and like what you thought was lost because you didn't raise him. It's cool to see like. It's coming full circle, you know what I mean? And everything is based on timing and happens kind of how it should. And to be honest with you, I don't think I would have married you had I known that you had a 2-year-old son at 18. I met Garrett when I was 18.
18 years old,
and if he would have said,
woman.
I know. And I mean, he was 25. I didn't think he was. I've always been attracted to older guys. I think I've always dated a little bit older, and so I didn't think it was that big of a deal. And I didn't until I found out after we'd been dating a couple months that he had a son. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to continue to date him. That's weird. And I think
were you ready to tap out because you were like, shit, I don't know.
Well,
Like,
I
mean, I wouldn't have
I was
been
confused
surprised.
because I had a lot of feelings for you, and I'm like, I really like him, but I don't. That's a lot of responsibility. Like, like I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to be I'm not ready to be mom at 18. Sorry, that's super weird for me. And so I remember the conversation even I had with you, and I found out, and I think you didn't want to tell me because you didn't want to scare me away because you kind of liked me.
I really liked you.
And
but I also was like not telling anyone when I dated in the beginning because I was like, dude.
Yeah, you didn't know if you were going to
I
stay
was like,
with
I'm
them.
not going to be with this person. Why would I
yeah.
waste all this time talking to them about it?
But anyways, my point being, like, I think that had you had a son in your life at that time and you would have had visitation rights or 50-50, I'd have been like, whoa, like I just moved away to college. Like you're fun. Bye-bye. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no way that I would have even considered dating you. And so I think that timing plays a big role in how things play out. So it's
even
just
now,
cool
even
to
now
see
with
the
the
different
timing
seasons.
of Parker being here inside of my world, like it's perfect. If this wouldn't have happened 5 years ago, I mean, he was 14 at the time. He's 19 now. There's just a lot of things that had to happen for this thing to play out. And I'm very happy about it. I'm very excited about it. So we're going to have one more topic, and then we're going to wrap this show. You ready?
Yeah, my back hurts. These chairs suck.
Which one are you in? That's a good one. You just need to learn to sit up straight.
Well,
You don't have very good posture.
I'm a little injured this week.
You are a little injured. All right. Well, I don't know if you're going to say anything.
I
but
don't really care if people want to know.
Really?
I don't care. I don't think it's a big deal.
Well, I'm not going to tell them. If you want to tell them, you can tell them.
Well, now I feel like I have to. Okay.
All right.
Another fun fact about me.
Here we go. Here we go. Fun fact from Danielle.
When I was 18 and dating Garrett, actually, I decided to go get a breast augmentation. And
AKA boob job.
Well, most people know what that is.
Yes.
And I went really, really big. I'm a small, petite person. I'm only 5'3", and I never liked them. And they were always really, really big. But I don't know if you noticed, but boobs kind of go in trend, like small, big, medium, whatever. But anyways, my back always hurt, and I just felt like they were a lot for my frame. And right after I had miscarried, I was like, you know what? I really have been thinking about getting this done for the last forever, 5-6 years, ever since Ruby was born. And I'm like, And I kept saying, oh, I'll wait till I have one more kid. And I finally was like, you know what? I'm just going to get it done. I'm tired of it. So I just recently went and had them redone, and I am much more comfortable and happy. My doctor did an amazing job. And
he's great.
His name is Dr. Steve Nip. Give him a little shout
Orange
out.
County is big time.
But I'm actually, when did I have it done? Wednesday, and it's Saturday.
Like
so just
3-4
barely.
days ago.
So I'm still a little sore, but
I was your supporter during breast augmentation 1 and breast augmentation
I
number 2.
didn't know. I just was like, yeah, bigger is better. And
I was a huge fan of you getting bigger boobs back then.
I know. I think you were nervous when I was like, I'm getting them redone. You're like, why would you do that? And I'm like,
I was a little nervous.
But you're supposed to have them redone every 10 to 12 years.
True.
So anyways, they were due. Shelf life was done. It was something I'd wanted to do. I just went. I had them taken out. They put smaller ones back in. So there we go.
And you know what? I'm just happy that you're happy.
Yeah, I'm so happy. Like
you
I was
so
telling
happy.
Garrett, I was like looking in the mirror and I'm like, oh my God, why didn't I do this sooner? Like I feel like me. But I had a lot of this mommy guilt. I'm not even going to lie. Like I wanted to do it forever, but I was like, oh my God, it's an elective surgery. It's an elective surgery and you're going under. And what if something happens? And it's so selfish of me and I can't do it. And now that I had it done, I'm like, oh, I feel like literally a weight's been lifted off my chest.
Well, because literally a weight has been lifted off your chest.
But I'm like, oh, why didn't I should have just taken care of it. But so I'm super happy that I did, and I feel like back to me, which is weird that I waited so long. So
and the crazy part is you were actually nervous about going under because why?
It freaks me out.
Yeah, because you could what?
Die? Yeah,
so you were nervous about leaving.
Well, yeah, just kids and everything, and there's just like I said, it's like an elective surgery, and I'm like, oh my God, I shouldn't do this, and so anyways, it was still scary, but I knew I don't know, I was like, I'm just gonna go in, and if I'm like kind of one of those people, if everything falls into play, then it's supposed to happen, and like everything just kind of fell into place timing wise for me, and I was like, okay, it's not a big deal. I feel good about it. I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go for it. So, anyways.
And so you did it, and it made you feel better about yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, you're still in kind of the recovery phase right now, and will be for a bunch of weeks. But you're feeling better about yourself. But this really ties into the entire point of what we're discussing, which is doing something for yourself and creating space for yourself to actually make you a better parent. Now, at the end of the day, here's what I'm going to tell you. As a parent, as an individual, if you as an individual, if you hate yourself, or if you are a man and you hate yourself, right? You don't have respect for yourself. You don't have time for yourself. You don't have love for yourself. Like, it's impossible for you to offer that up to your wife. It's impossible for you to offer that up to your children. So if you walk around in a body that doesn't work for you, if you walk around inside of an energy or a suppressed feeling inside of you that you don't get out, if you don't have time for you to discover and investigate you and be part of just being in love with yourself, which sounds completely fucking egotistical, and yet... Here's the interesting thing, and I'm going to go to the Bible on this one for you. Yes, I've been quoting this like 3 times in 3 different trainings this week. I'm going to roll with it, and I'm going to do it again here. Then there's 2 phrases. Jesus gets asked a question by somebody, says, okay, well, what are the 2 great commandments? You know, what is the number one? What are the great commandments? What is the number 1 commandment? You know, what does God ultimately want? And the attorneys at the time were asking this question to Jesus, and they were asking him the question, trying to trick him. And Jesus, of course, is like, not to be tricked. And he responds with a very simple response in contradiction to the 10 Commandments and all these other things that had gotten so complicated in the way that people were living at the time. He said 2 things. 1, love God with all your heart, might, mind, and strength. And he said the second one, which is where the mystery is, which it says, love thy neighbor as thyself. King James Version, that's where thee, thys. If you want to translate in a modern version, it's like, love your neighbor as you love yourself. In this case, love your wife as you love yourself. Love your children as you love yourself. But if you hate yourself, it is impossible for you to actually love your wife. It's impossible for you to love your children. You cannot do this. You can try to love God all you want, but consider you're also going to hate yourself. You hate God. If you were a creation of God inside of that, if you and your partner are together, there's no possible way for me to love this woman if I hate myself. And most of what has changed inside of a relationship is a deep understanding and appreciation for who I am. And inside of understanding the deep truth and appreciation for who I am and being willing to do things for me because I want to do them for me. Not because I need Danielle's permission, not because I want Danielle to like it, but because I know the inside of doing it is going to be something I feel like I need to do. Danielle wanted to do the boob job. And it was something that you felt like you needed to do. Yeah. I wanted this tattoo on my arm. You did not like me doing this.
I like it now.
Yeah, but you were like against it. You were anti. Kind of like I was a little bit anti about your boob job surgery. I get it. But inside of both of these moves, it actually gave us something. And there's hundreds of moves we've made just like this that have given us something as individuals and as parents that we can actually give back to our children. If you want to love your children, you cannot hate yourself. If you hate yourself, what you will offer up is a manipulative, bullshit, motivational game of love to your children. My children love me and trust me right now at levels they've never. My son loves and trusts me right now. Do you know why? Because my son has learned through Warrior Week and the process he's gone through to actually love and appreciate himself for all of who he is. My kids talk to me at levels they've never talked to me before as a father because I have learned to appreciate the fact that I am a complete fuck up and at the same time I'm completely fantastic. And guess what? The same is true for my children. And when I come to accept all of the vastness of who I am, inside of accepting the vastness of who I am, I'm given this permission slip to experience it with my children too. I'm given it as an experience to experience it with my wife. Would you say that I've become a better father? Yes or no?
Yeah, I think
that is a long ass pause. Are you kidding me right now?
Well, I was
like you're sitting here trying to think about whether I've become a better father. Are you looking for something important to say? That was the longest pause.
Did you just want a yes?
Well, that's all I was looking for, yes.
Okay, yes. I was going to add to it.
Okay, well, you say yes quickly and then you go. All right, so what do you got beyond the yes?
I was just going to say yes, but I think you're always striving to do better, like in life in general. I think that that's kind of like the warrior message. And so when you're teaching and preaching that, you have to hold yourself to a higher standard. Mm-hmm. So I wrote
So you literally didn't even answer the question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I asked you, do you think...
I said yes.
That's it?
Oh my God, I elaborate and you I say yes, I don't win.
But you didn't elaborate. You elaborated on a concept. You didn't elaborate on me as a father.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, do you think it, I mean, you don't have to say it as if you think I'm a jackass and I've gotten better, you can tell everyone that right now. I will be okay with this because I know I've gotten better as a father, but you may not see that. You may think, now you're the same you've always been. I mean, this is a pressure moment because I'm literally putting you on the stage here to like decide my fate. This is like the movie Gladiator, and you're the king with the thumb up or the thumb down move, and everyone's like cheering.
No, I think you're. I think you're a good father.
Good father? Is that just a good father? You're a good father. There's like a fucking good fathers. I'm better than a good father.
What would you like me to say right
I don't know what I want you to say.
Okay.
Outside of like, talking about how I go all in as father.
You wanted a lot of praise right now?
I do. Praise me, woman. Go.
You're the man.
Thank you. All right, that's all I needed. I just need you to say you're the man, and I will be naked with you later tonight.
You're a good father. I think that sometimes...
Good is a shitty word.
You are a great father.
Thank you. I was looking for great. Well done. Yes, I was hunting for a compliment. Just like you coming in and asking me if you look amazing in something. Actually, you never have actually asked me. Why are you looking around the studio right now?
Just looking for Garrett. Where'd he go?
Oh, shit.
Bring him back. No, it's a good podcast.
All right, well, we're wrapping it up.
Respect yourself and you will respect others. Respect your children and they will respect you. Respect your people that you're around and you work with, vice versa. I did a post this week on the blog. I'm like, just be fucking nice. Like, there's a lot to be learned in being nice and liking yourself, being nice to yourself, taking time for yourself, taking time for others, creating balance in your life. Like, It is what it is. We all know this.
I love you.
We all know this.
You're amazing.
You're amazing.
Thank you for being on the show.
Thanks for inviting me.
You're welcome.
Or it's my show. Is it my show?
It is your show. Thank you for inviting me to your show. All right, we're going to wrap this up. Here is our principle for the week, which is this. What are you going to do this week in creating space for yourself beyond your partner and your children so that you have the ability to actually be a very present parent and partner? What are you going to do to have that be your topic inside a date night? We already did that to start our date night tonight. And a last reminder here, Warrior Book itself is no joke. This book itself and the science of it not only brought my son back into relationship with me, but also restored my marriage and has done so for over 10,000 families in 27 countries. And if you're a man and you're looking for the new improved version of this, we have Warrior Book connected to Be the Man the Book, plus a War Map journal, as well as an opportunity to be part of the King's Challenge, 30-day challenge inside of a new process system we call the King's Kit. You can find that out more at warriorbook.com. We'll be back next week, and our topic next week on this show will actually be around communication. And we're going to specifically talk about digging for compliments, which obviously I was doing here at the end of this show, digging deliberately for a praised comment from my wife. And we're going to talk about how that's probably not a good move.
I feel like, do you do that a lot? I feel like maybe
I
should
hardly
be
ever
more
do
aware.
That. Right now, I was just
you know what you do? This is what you do. If you like affirmation, you have to be like, you're such a good, you have to.
I tell you, you're a good wife?
No, because
I say, you're such a good mother. And you know what you'll say? Thank you.
Yeah.
And then you'll look at your phone and buy some shit.
I will not. You fucking asshole.
All right, we are wrapping this show up. We will see you next week here on our date night as we talk about the topic of communication, and we continue to take us down. Until next week, hope you guys have a great week, and bye-bye. Are you going to say something awesome to end the show? Go.
Oh, we're still going?
Yeah, we're still going to end it quickly. Say something great. You have 20 seconds.
Are you Team Garrett or Team Danielle?
Oh, boy. We already know I win. Good night.